Want to join me to call this meeting in order and a pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We normally start off from our left to our right. Our left is the introduction of the board members.
Mike Stevens, I live in my columns.
I'm Tim Bryan. I have a business here in Crabapple.
I'm Marty Littleton. I live on Freemanville.
Tony Shepard, Nettlebrook Farms.
Laura Weissong, Crooked Creek.
May I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, can I get a motion to approve the July meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve July meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're good to go. All right. First, number 5 is demos. The first one we're going to come up with is 14555 Birmingham Highway, the famous Scott Reese, or infamous. Heard they were looking for you in Dawsonville.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm Scott Reese with Brumbelow Reese & Associates, doing business at 13685 Highway 9, Milton, Georgia 30004. I'm here tonight representing Chuck Martin in his application to demo his mother's house. 1950s era, one-story brick ranch, hip roof. It's been vacant now probably about 15 years or so. Very bad shape. It's on, I think, an acre, 1.75 acre lot. Just wants to take the house down and eventually rebuild a new house. So there appears to be no architectural, social, environmental, any necessary beneficiary reasons to keep this structure in the neighborhood.
Standard comment is that if it's allowed to be demoed, that it's completely hauled off, graded, and looks like it's planted grass, no septic tanks taken care of, well taken care of. Standard speech. Anybody have any other problems?
No, it's okay to me.
Bob and Angela, do you have any concerns about this property? No. Okay. Is there any concerns from the public, or positive or negative? May I ask someone to make a motion?
Motion to approve item 5A 14555 Birmingham Highway is submitted.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let's bring up 12800, 12830, 12850 Hopewell Road. Mr. Scott Reese.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I am Scott Reese with Brumbelow Reese & Associates, doing business at 13685 Highway 9, Milton, Georgia 30004. I'm here tonight representing Fuquay & Associates and their application to demo 3 structures. The property is listed above on Hopewell Road. Previously this year, we were successful in getting this property rezoned for a single-family residential subdivision. In order to proceed with the LDP and construct the subdivision, these 3 structures need to be taken down. The first structure is a one-story single-family brick ranch. It's vacant at present. Once again, no architectural, social, environmental redeeming qualities that make this building special. The second structure is an abandoned, very poor shaped, formerly brick, single family structure that the brick has been removed from and has been vandalized in pretty bad shape. So I really can't, I was unable to get clear pictures, but it is in that brush. So if you'll see on your site plans or your demo plan, we have located specimen trees, and there is a third old barn structure. Once again, it's in very bad shape, and we can't get very good pictures of. So we understand that during the LDP process, we will be taking these down. The area that will be disturbed will be returned to a state where it's level graded and grassed. The septic tanks will be crushed and filled with stone, and as required by the Fulton County Health Department.
Good. Any questions by you, Bob? Angela?
Let's see. So 12,800. 12,830.
Between 1890 and 1910, but I couldn't find a better picture of it than what he has.
Is this the one that we cannot see?
The structure you're speaking of was taken down about 10 years ago. The house that was there. It was taken down prior to the creation of the city of Milton. So there is no historical residential structure there. There's the remnants of a pole barn. So if you'll note on your site plan, there is no residence there.
That being said, anybody have any issues with it other than? Okay. Do we have any issues from that'd like to speak up about it from the public or from the board? That being said, can I get someone to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve item 5B, 12,800, 12,830, 12,850 Hopewell Road as submitted.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm curious to see what it actually did look like, though.
I think it's the middle one.
Yeah,
That
there's
is the historic structure.
there's nothing there.
They said the house was torn down 10 years ago.
Yeah,
That's the garage. The middle one's a garage.
yeah, right there. This is the garage.
So you're okay with it? Okay, we're good.
Sorry, who made that motion?
I did.
And I seconded it.
Six, final reviews for the Family Tree Animal Clinic, 13900 Birmingham Road.
I noticed this is on a final review. When did this come before us initially?
This is the first time, I believe.
Are we having a final review if this is the first time?
They only have to come once. I mean, we don't do courtesy reviews for LDPs or building typically, unless there's just something weird. I mean, final meaning you're going to vote on it as opposed to just offer comments.
Where's this going to be? Oh, so this in the Birmingham.
You can tell from this, Marty.
Yeah, I got it. I was just thinking about the other one that's on the other roundabout.
On Cogburn?
On Hopewell, or Cogburn, or whatever it is.
Yeah. That's a pet sitting.
Oh, it's pet sitting?
Yeah, it's not a lodge.
Yeah, a pet lodge.
Pet lodge.
Ready?
Thank you.
I'm Brad Riffle with AEC, 50 Warm Springs Circle, Roswell, Georgia. I'm here tonight representing Dr. Everett Bannister with Family Tree Animal Clinic. Mark, I'm here to answer questions about the site and Mark Clark is the architect here, obviously answering questions about the architecture. As you noted, this site is at the roundabout there at New Providence and Birmingham Highway. Our frontage is primarily on Birmingham Highway. As you can see, it's a rather small building fitting on the site, 3,100 plus square feet. Small parking lot. We are 99.9% finished and approved with GDOT. So we just have a little bit of last second paperwork that we need to sign and a bond to get for GDOT, and we're good with them. Almost finished getting the permit with Fulton County for water. The septic design is still under review, and we should be getting comments or approval back from that rather quickly. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer questions about the site.
Bob, have you met with this applicant?
Yeah. We went over the architecture and modified it considerably.
So you're satisfied with the plan? Angela? Are you satisfied with the plan?
Yeah, we had originally had our kind of pre-app meeting, and we had the building oriented differently, and then at that meeting was when we were told about orienting it differently and providing look on the site plan. So
when you work with staff, it makes it a lot easier, so we can.
Right.
Contrary to popular belief, we're not. We're going to stand behind our staff a good bit because they're the ones that are the experts.
They've done everything we've asked them to do. So.
Pardon me?
They've done everything we've asked them to do.
Okay. Anybody on the board have questions?
Yeah, can they just walk us through the exterior design?
Yeah.
Would you like the architect to? Okay.
Please.
My name is Mark Clare. I'm the owner of Southeast Design, located at 5330 Prancing Pass in Cumming, Georgia. Also, one of my associates here, Jordan Futch, who's worked very closely with Robert. We specialize in the design of animal hospitals, completing about 150 animal hospitals in the Southeast. We're representing Dr. Bannister. She's coming here. So a little bit about the building. First of all, we did several preliminary meetings with Robert, and he was very, very helpful with us on our design. So we brought in a few of the materials, so we'd like to show those to you, and then also on the board, we can just sort of point them out to you. And we made a couple copies we'll hand out to you that'll help better go through it.
This is going to be small animal.
So when you use cultured rock, one of the things that we request, especially when you're going to do the columns out of the bottom out of rock, what are you using for your capstone for the top?
We're going to use the same rock. It's going to be a deeper rock that's going to be seated around the top of the column.
Okay.
It'll all be pop and sealed. Primarily our biggest concern is, especially when dogs come in, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to lift their leg right there on those first two columns. There's always a lot of odor generated there from the urine, especially in August. So the last thing that we want Dr. Bannister's clients from the human standpoint is, ooh, it smells like urine. Ooh, you know what the inside smells like. So we caulk that up really good so that it can be sprayed.
Also the corner pieces too, you know, where the cultured stone meets, they have the special corners.
That's where we're going with this, is that all the corner products, the way this product is to be installed, is the way the manufacturer has described it to be installed, which means if you got a corner block, it's not somebody cutting and chipping. It's going to be.
Everything will be ordered, placed, and everything will have a corner, so it'll have a complete length turn to it. It will also be staggered to match, to supposed to have that stack stone look. Same thing with the caps.
Right. So where I was trying to go with it is to make sure that it goes as it is designed to be applied to the surface versus what we have seen early on the windward area of the Highway 9 corridor. We had the people going in when they cut in their doors. All they did was just cut off the rock, and it didn't have returns.
All of the stone.
And we're down below our windows, so the windows.
Right.
Seal actually sits on top of that.
And there's no gutter on this, right?
Yes, there will be a gutter system along the entire hospital. Basically, what we're doing is we're matching the same gutter system that's here on City Hall. We like that round radius look. Typically, we use sometimes another hospital will use, just depends where it's at, a residential look. But we like what is here, so we resemble the same thing.
I knew there was a reason that we picked out the round gutters.
Which is including the round downspouts.
Yes, that's good.
And the galvanized roof, is that going to remain natural, or is that?
Actually, we had the same back here.
It's Galvalume, right?
Yeah.
It should stay that color,
Yeah.
for the most part.
Should say that color 20 years.
Yes. Yep.
That's good.
I wouldn't say touch it, but it won't cut your finger off.
Yeah.
It's Galvalume.
So we're going to use that all around here. For the roofing material itself, we were going to go with the standard.
30-year architectural. You're doing the 30-year?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Are you doing a board and batten on the exterior, like a hardy plank? Okay.
And not last but least, concrete. Are you gonna face the concrete? Meaning, are you gonna stamp it, make it, or are you just gonna have regular poured concrete for underneath the structure?
Underneath would be regular poured concrete.
Okay.
Bob, are we okay with the signage, the size?
Yeah, the signage would be done under a separate application, so he'd be required to meet that code. But I did want to show you where he'd be placing the sign. So I think it does matter and how the sign is applied to the elevation. So he's agreed to put the sign in that location.
Now, will there be any exterior pins for boarding or anything like that?
No, there won't be any exterior boarding at all.
You won't have a place to be able to walk the dogs.
The dogs will be walked. They'll be walked out to the opposite side of the building.
And will that be fenced?
That will be fixed, yes, sir.
Okay.
So is your plan where you don't have building or parking, is that going to be maintained as green space?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And your fencing, have y'all discussed the fencing type? And is that something, Bob, you've discussed with them, the fence?
And the fence would be...
Is it going to be a chain link fence, or is it going to be a...
No, it's a board and batten. It has to be a
Would
board
have
and
to
batten.
be a horse.
So it'd be a horse one
Style
with the
fence.
rectangle hog wire behind it.
Yes, which is
Okay.
the only fence that they allow there.
And that's what you understood?
Yes, sir.
And
Okay.
there's going to be a dumpster at the back of the property that looks like it's going to be fenced in. I was trying to see how close that is in proximity to the adjoining properties. Do you know approximately how close it is to the nearest house? Because I imagine.
I will say that this particular property is sort of in a bowl.
Okay.
So what you're seeing, that buffer all around, sort of slopes very sharply down. So none of the residentials are much higher than this property. It's got quite a drop to it.
Yeah, I was thinking too, from a smell perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, it would almost be pocketed in there. It's got a big drop all around it.
Yeah, I put the grading plan on here so you can get an idea about that. In terms of its distance, 50 foot undisturbed buffer line right here, so it's probably another 40 feet or at least 90 feet to the property line. Need another house, I have no idea. It's far away, I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's going from 1066 down to up to 1076. So it's a good
Yeah, it's
10
well
10-foot
under.
weld in.
Now, are you designing this with future expansion in mind?
Yes.
So you could build off to the southwest side, and then your septic would be able to accommodate future expansion as well?
That's correct. That is correct. Yeah, this is where we're planning on the
Right.
future expansion.
Okay, good. So you're taking that into account?
And is there a landscape plan?
Yes. This is far out of this room, so I can't get it in. What you're looking at, obviously, we applied the standards for the landscape strips along the main highway, but a lot of what you see in these buffer areas, this was previously cleared by Georgia DOT to build what they built, and so they left us with a lot of cleared buffer. And in talking with the city, they've allowed us to get in there and do whatever grading we need to lose some dirt that's excess. And in doing so, we have to replant. So we're going to disturb the area that's already cleared and then replant it according to buffer standards.
It's all clay.
Yep.
Is the picture indicative of, I mean, is there going to be concrete pad going all the way around the building, or are you going to have any planting areas immediately adjacent to the building?
No, I think, Mark, help me out here. I think, well, they can't see that.
Yeah, we actually had concrete sidewalk going around.
Okay.
And we didn't really have any landscaping in this building.
Like foundation plantings is what they're referring
Yeah.
to.
Right.
Like a foundation planting around the building itself.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, we can put some, if we need to put some around there, we can.
But the sidewalk does go up against the building because you're walking around the building.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's,
Okay. Yeah,
I think they kept it more towards the front landscape areas and then heavily vegetating those two hills to really kind of naturalize the look of it.
Now, as far as the site plan goes, is there any plan to put sidewalk in any of this?
What do you mean, along the frontage?
Is there any,
The
Yeah,
DOT already put sidewalks.
they already did?
Yeah, it's a
They have
10-foot
sidewalk
wide
already.
multi-use
It's 10
path
feet
already.
wide.
All right, good.
And then we're doing our little connection
Okay,
there, which you can see right here.
gotcha.
Has Mark Law looked at the landscape plan and approved it?
I believe he has, because we've gone through one round of comments and addressed them and then resubmitted sometime a week ago. But yes, we've addressed comments.
Okay.
Landscape plan would be a separate issue, right?
It is, but we did sit with Mark, and that's how we came up with this plan, because we wanted to renaturalize those hills and kind of get it back to where it was. And DOT came in and just kind of really graded everything kind of rough. So we're trying to renaturalize it and make it a softer appearance. And then,
But at the end of the day, this will be, the landscape plan, whatever it's really going to be, is something staff will see.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
part of the LDP.
yeah, as far as the LDP,
Okay.
we'll make
So
sure.
us
that
making the
it's-
decision on the building doesn't say that we accept the landscape plan as it is now. That's for a future.
Well, you're approving the site and the building tonight.
Yeah, I wanted the board to know that we are going to be revegetating those hills. We are putting landscaping up along the front street line for landscape strip standards, and trying to keep the rural viewshed look along that roadway a little bit more.
Do I read this correct? You're putting impermeable pavers for your parking?
That's correct. There's some permeable pavers.
For 7 of the spots.
These spots right here, because we're draining towards it, and it's our method for runoff reduction we have to meet for. Right.
It helps them a lot with their stormwater volumes.
Any, other than on the building, is there any other exterior lighting? Like in the parking lot?
There is parking lot lighting.
Yes.
We've gone through that with him, and he'll be meeting the standard for the district that he's in.
Yeah,
It's a
the local
specialty light.
EMC has done our site plan for it.
There's a special light that's required, and he's already talked to the EMC and make sure that we can get access to that light fixture.
Okay.
Sounds like you've done everything right.
So at this point, let me ask if there's any public comment. Anybody would like to speak to this issue? Any more board comment?
I had just one comment. I'd encourage you to use real stone. I just think we're seeing this fake stuff come up all over town, and most of it looks really bad after a few years. This might be great. I don't know enough about it to make an informed comment on it, but just from past experience, for the little bit that you have on there, I think the owner would be much happier, and certainly I would be a lot happier if it was real. I wish we could change the rules for the city to only allow real stone.
It's in here in Crabapple, isn't everything built real stone?
In Crabapple District itself, yes. In the overlay here, it's in this district. It's a district. So in this district, we do require real stone.
Would it be a deal breaker for you guys to add stone to it versus the fabricated stone?
Well, one of the things, it will affect our budget a little bit. So, and the other thing too is working with the real stone versus the culture stone. Some of the applications we're just talking about, returns and corners and doors. Some pieces we have to set out there, and it is a little bit more labor intensive. But I'm not opposed to it. I'm sure Dr. Bannister would be all right with it.
I'm sorry, just state your name and address for the record.
Sure. Dr. Everett Bannister, 2072 Cobblestone Circle, Brookhaven, Georgia. And first, I want to apologize for being behind. Sorry about that. I think everything on our end is just looking at the budget at this point. Coming into the city of Milton, there's been some changes and things that I've had to add. And I think just working with that, I want to be able to add everything that I can in order to fit into the community as best as I can and keep it as beautiful as possible. But as Mark pointed out, I think at the end of the day, at some point in time, a budget's going to come into it. And so I'll have to evaluate that. But it is something that I would like to do if I can.
What do you think it would cost to change this from?
Just have to get what GC and get a price.
What is that product? What is it composed of?
It's just concrete.
It is concrete?
Concrete and stained.
I see.
But I would say that brand is one of the better ones, cultured stone, the true cultured stone.
It's just when you cut it, it's concrete inside. And
there are knockoff brands,
But they're not going to cut it. That was the reason for the comment, was what you said.
They sell a special.
There's two other companies that are really good too. That El Dorado and Coronado, and the Coronado is really heavy and it's high quality.
I was just
What's their price per square foot? Just curious what the difference between Coronado stone.
That's brand new. You'll love the difference, and it'll last you way better, way longer.
Making that quarter. The same thing.
It isn't that many square feet.
Is it a panel?
Good bit.
A panel, or is that, it's actually it's not the whole wall.
I did my whole house,
And it's
water table, and all the way around 4 feet.
that one's not as heavy. The Coronado is really heavy. I mean, it's heavier than almost regular stone. Yeah, those are thinner.
The actual thickness, it'd be.
They're heavy. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't either. I'm actually using it for a product. It's fine.
The Culture Stone brand is a good one, though. That brand is the originator of it all. There's a lot of knockoffs that don't look so good.
Would it be acceptable if we specified that brand?
It has to be.
Yeah. In other words, instead of buying a knocked off version of
We're
it.
going to approve exactly what's written here. Culture. That's the color. Just has to stay with that.
Well, that would be as submitted, wouldn't it?
Yes, that's right.
So Owens and Corning's the culture stone, and is that the Owens Corning product?
That's a brand, yeah.
It's brand.
So the brand on the paperwork is different than the brand you brought?
No, it's the same.
It is the same?
It's the same.
Okay.
Owens Corning makes cultured stone.
That's what I was trying to get to.
And that's the product name.
I do agree with him about cultured stone. It's not one of my favorites, but however, is something allowed within our city. And as long as it's applied the way it's supposed to be, meaning no cuts where they're not supposed to be cuts, actually cornered rock. So anybody would like to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve item 6A, Family Tree Animal Clinic, 13900 Birmingham Road, as submitted.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Hope you take care of birds. We need a bird vet up here.
Thank you once again for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Next is courtesy reviews.
That building on Webb and Highway 9, ooh, is that thing bad?
Not great. 14990 Birmingham Highway. Request to allow pool deck, and pool equipment to encroach into the 75-foot impervious setback, and to allow the pool deck, and pool equipment to encroach into the 50-foot stream buffer. Anybody here?
Hello, I'm Vance Dover with Georgia Classic Pool, and I'm sorry? Yeah, I'm with Georgia Classic Pool. I'm here with the homeowner, and I don't really have. I heard some echo.
That's my truck walking in. Yeah, I thought they were closed. Excuse me, just 1 minute.
We can proceed without them.
Yeah, you can go.
Okay. I don't really have a whole lot more to add than. I don't have a whole lot more to add than what you have there. There actually, except there was a variance on this approved a couple of years ago, and the pool that we're proposing is pretty much in the same location within a few feet, and it's also a little bit smaller than the one that was approved a couple of years ago. But since it did change, we were required to submit for another variance. But I'm just here to answer any questions you may have.
So what's the variance? 75 feet from where? From the
The pool and pool deck are encroaching into the 50-foot buffer and the 75-foot impervious setback.
From the pond. Got it.
So it's a little confusing if you look at the drawing, but the previous one is the one in black, and he's pushed it back towards the house, and that's the one in red. And so they previously did secure a variance. Now they're just modifying it so they're going back to show the new location.
Yeah, the BZA conditioned the original variance to a site plan, and we don't have a way to administratively modify that, so they have to come back and get a variance.
Angela, may I interrupt for just a moment? Is anyone in here parked in a truck outside on the front street?
Yeah, Marty knows. He's getting
Oh, okay. Did they were tooting the horn? I was just on the phone driver. My apologies.
No problem.
It's Marty.
Do you need to say anything about the buffer?
So what am I missing here? So, 75 feet is the house. So you're really going to be less than 25 feet? But
We're going to extend into the undisturbed buffer.
the house is already in the 75 feet, it looks like.
75 feet.
75 feet is here, so it goes through the house.
I mean, the house is existing, so we don't bother that.
So where's the 20, how close is it?
So this is 75, this is 50, and this is 25.
So it's like 42 or 45 feet.
So it's, this much is encroaching into the 50-foot setback. And then, just so the board knows, we found out today there has been some work in the 25-foot buffer. So they have to That's out of our hands. They have to go before the state and get a variance for that work. But they were here, so we wanted to go ahead and get your input on this project before they go forth before the state.
The original variance, was that in 2015?
I think so, yeah.
It's a V15 number.
V15-2, I believe.
So they got a variance, they didn't build the pool, now they're coming back and they want to push it back further.
Yeah, they're actually going to be.
Is this the same homeowners that were there for the original?
It's a different homeowner, so it was, a variance was granted a couple years ago under a previous homeowner. Yeah, the pool was never built. The new homeowner decided they wanted a pool pretty much in the same location, a little bit smaller. So thus we're requesting this new variance.
They're actually reducing the amount of intrusion into the buffer. So it's.
So the original design, this is the original design. So how much of the original design was in the buffer? Quite a bit of it.
So you have a smaller one showing kind of an overlay of the original.
We approved it a couple of years ago, but I don't know what our comments were.
Yeah, it looks like quite a bit.
So now you're talking.
What did we approve a couple of years ago?
This one here? Yeah, you have the little.
Yeah, this was
You
the
can see
original
that
up
the black
here.
is the original.
Yeah.
Smaller.
Red is pushing it back.
So it's coming more
It's
this
coming,
way.
yeah,
So
lower on
you
the
just
page
got
and
this
here.
little nub right there that's
Yep,
in
that's
the.
in there.
Yeah, go through the same process.
75 is still here.
Because they never built
Went
it.
through the house.
Why can't they rotate the pool a little bit?
Well, you could, if you got rid of a little bit of this area here, you could rotate, you would get
Then
it
they
out of
would-
that level.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Then they would only
They
be
wouldn't
in-
have to get into the 50-foot.
Then they wouldn't need to be in the 50. You could have some test up.
So Bob, did we ever go back and look at why we approved it the first time?
No. But Tony's
What's precluding you from
suggestion is
pulling
that
it in a little bit from the 50-foot buffer?
if you rotate the pool a little bit towards the house, what Tony Shepard's saying is that you'd be able to clear the 50-foot. So it would only be between the 50 and the 75.
It would just make it really tight. You know, they got a pretty good sized lot, and it would
Right,
just.
but you might have a better chance of getting that approved
Right.
if you go forward with it like this.
I guess we're thinking.
Say, have that, I would have it planned
Yeah.
as a
Okay.
backup.
Well, yeah, as a backup, we would. I guess we're just thinking while we're building a pool that's smaller than the one that was already approved.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's great that it's smaller, but I'm saying if you rotate it just slightly to try to get it out of that 50-foot buffer, if you could, you probably have a better chance of getting it
And
approved.
it looks like it's really close to the house already, right?
It's just, yeah, you got this nice big house, and then you're just trying to squeeze up.
Pool right up. Like, how far is the pool from the
Because
house?
you're only talking about a few feet, you know.
How far is the house? Well, I think it's got to go to it's got to go beyond us. I would show how close it is to the house and how much is actually sticking past the 50-foot, which dimensions aren't on here.
Yeah.
At least not what I'm seeing. That would make a better case to me, is to show how close it is to the house, and you're only going in 5 feet, 6 feet, or whatever it is.
Right.
Right. That doesn't show here to me.
Yeah.
I personally have no problem with it.
Did it go in front of the BZA a couple of years ago? Did they approve it? Then?
And what we don't know what our comments were at the time, right?
I'd have to dig them out.
I'd say as long as the BZA approved it last time, it's going to go back through. But they should maybe refer back to their notes or comments would be one thing.
Different makeup.
Different board, maybe.
But at least they could look at the comments that were made back then, if they have them on file.
How old is this house?
I would think.
don't know.
How old is the house?
How old's the house?
Okay. Built pre-Milton days.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with it at all.
I don't either.
Would you mind just stepping up?
Come on up and tell us who you
Just
are.
state your name and address for the record, please. No, it's okay.
You're a voting citizen. You get to talk
Probably
about
not remembering correctly. Julie Johnson, you said address?
Yes, please.
14990 Birmingham Highway.
Thank you.
From what I understand, and I don't remember the specifics of it, but the original, I remember someone saying the original, that it was something was kind of grandfathered in because one of the buffers maybe wasn't even there when the first variance happened. I don't know. I don't remember. And so we had
Stream buffers changed.
We had one person tell us we would probably fall in the grandfathered rule because the house had been there since 2004 before these particular buffers were even there.
Probably true.
Okay.
Just
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sounds true. I think they did change that.
They did change it.
So I'd imagine our thought process would have been that if it was that way when the house was built, that's what we'd have to stick with, is the way it was when the house was built. So, not a lot of discussion from us other than move it on to the BZA and see what they say and be prepared for the worst and hope for the best.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look,
New business.
I have none.
Only new business that I have is I did meet with the other board chairs last week. And, you know, it's been some talk in the past about the possibility of us basically sending somebody to work in or to be a part of another board just to see how that board works. You know, just to be an observer, to go and look, and all of us to take turns where this month maybe it might be you, Laura, that goes to a board, and we actually bring somebody from that board over here because what we really want to do is get the boards to have a better understanding between the boards so that we understand how our decisions impact each board and how each board should, in fact, hold each board, what they have to say relevant to, the design review board. A lot of people we don't hold. We're not judicial, as the BZA is. Mm-hmm. So some would say the BZA is a judicial body, and therefore it holds the candlestick. But we are a vetting portion of what we do. A lot of what happens in our city starts off here, and we have to help vet those particular projects. So what I really want to do is get our board members to understand and agree or disagree, but to try to make it where we can at least exchange and pick a board, and over the next 6 months, all of us make a transition through the boards so that we actually get to know the other board members. I'm going to suggest that I think we have to have, if we have all the board members get together at one time, that would have to be an advertised event. But I would like to have a meeting somewhere in one of our multiple facilities that we have to get our boards together for a get-together so the board members will all know each other. So,
and Marty, on something like this, would this be, when you rotate through, would they be sitting as a voting member of that board, or is this just an observation?
They would not. They would just be there as an observer. And, yeah, we, even on our board, we have complained sometimes the BZA doesn't pay attention to what we have to say. So the best way to be able to get the board to understand what we do, why we do what we do, is for them to rotate people through our board as we do theirs, so we can see the different pictures that are painted. Mm-hmm. Theirs is more judicial, so therefore theirs is it's a lot different than what we do. So, but what we do is important to help set up for the BZA to do their job. And quite frankly, the BZA, the job they do, is supposed to help the council do their job. And all of us are here to represent the citizens. And, you know, none of us are here to represent one group of citizens. For example, I don't represent Freemanville Road. I'm supposed to represent the entire city because we are appointed by a district, but we are appointed at large, basically. So we represent the whole city as a whole. And I just want to see us get a better understanding of all the boards so that we can actually have a farm team, so to speak, to grow our boards into where we bring more people that come into our city agendas and do a better job, because it's all about us doing a better job in education and not making old Scott Riso their man. So that's my new business. Any old business?
Did you have anything from the other one coming in? Did somebody want to come in?
Oh, I offered the pizza guy to come in.
Okay, but he's not.
No pizza guy.
Okay.
We're all good?
We're good?
Then I call this meeting adjourned.